This is the Transition on Atlantic Television Network. Federal government has deployed 10,000 Nigerian security and civil defense corps personnel to curb further attacks on oil pipelines against the backdrop of the blast at the oil installations in Rivers State between Sunday and Tuesday. The NSCDC spokesperson, Afolabi Babawale, who confirmed the deployment of anti-vandal operatives, said the operatives were tasked with protecting critical infrastructure and preventing pipeline vandalism, particularly in the Niger Delta. This is coming after the opposition lawmakers and organized labor protested the imposition of emergency rule in Rivers State by President Bola Tinubu, while Tinubu, in a national broadcast on Tuesday, announced the suspension of Governor Siminalayi Fubara, his deputy, Professor Ngozi Odu, and the State Assembly members. He also nominated Vice Admiral Ibok Ete Ibas, retired, as the state's sole administrator, who was sworn in at the Aso Villa on Wednesday, will administer the state for initial period of 6 months. Still in Rivers State, APC in Rivers State, led by Chief Tony Okocha, has expressed satisfaction on the declaration of state of emergency in Rivers State. A statement signed by the Rivers State APC chairman, Sir Tony Okocha, the party said the decision by Mr. President was clearly the best of all possible decision to checkmate the brewing circumstances of economic sabotage and general problems that were trickling and bedeviling the peace in Rivers State. The party recalled how Mr. President, in his very tight schedules, took out time to meet with critical stakeholders in Rivers State and the most serene environment in the state. House Abuja, adding that the meeting was advisory and produced 8-point resolution as backup, which was read before the full glare of attendees as well as former Governor Opito Dele. It also recalled that after every paragraph was read, the president paused to ask if it was acceptable to all, and everyone accepted and also signed the 8-point resolution, beginning with the suspended Governor Fubara. The statement accused the suspended Governor Fubara of displaying total disregard and disrespect for the rule of law and carried on the impunity under the guise of immunity clause of Section 308. The APC also made reference to the Supreme Court judgment, wherein the court clearly said there was no government in Rivers State within the period under review, as there was no legislature at that time. Still in Rivers State, House of Assembly has endorsed President Bola Tinubu's declaration of a state of emergency in the state. A statement by the Speaker of the House, Martin Amehule said the Assembly would abide by the President's decision even though it was not what they had hoped for. The Speaker blamed Governor Siminalayi Fubara for the crisis in Rivers State, accusing him of ignoring court judgments and failing to govern in line with the Constitution. Amehule called on residents to remain calm and cooperate with the sole administrator appointed by the President to oversee the affairs of the state. The Speaker also thanked the people of the state for their patience, prayers and support during this period of emergency. This is coming after Tinubu declared a state of emergency in Rivers State and suspended Fubara, his deputy Ngozi Odu, and all the elected members of the State House of Assembly for 6 months. He said the decision was taken to restore stability in the state that has been witnessing political turmoil as a result of the disagreement between the state governor and the state lawmakers. Following his declaration, the President appointed a former Chief of Naval Staff, Admiral Ibok Ibas, as an administrator for Rivers State. Moving on, conflict resolution expert Ndamdi Ekulo has shed light on the limitations of presidential powers during a state of emergency. Speaking on Atlantic Television Network program Open Conversation, Ekulo said President Bola Tinubu can only declare a state of emergency under Section 305 of the 1999 Constitution, but cannot suspend governors or other governmental officials, stressing that the Constitution applies equally to all persons and authorities, regardless of position or authority.
Supremacy of the Constitution, and it says that this Constitution is supreme and is binding on all authorities and persons.
Okay.
That is to say, including the leaders and the led.
Okay.
Everybody as highly placed, it's above the law. The president is within the law. to declare a state of emergency in the interest of public order and safety and peace and security. The president has the right under section 305 of the 1999 Constitution to declare state of emergency, but the president does not have the powers under that same section of the Constitution that allows him to declare state of emergency to suspend an elected sitting governor and also suspend an elected members of the House of Assembly. He does not possess that powers under section 3.
He also highlighted that Section 11, subsection 4 grants the National Assembly the authority to resume a state's legislative duties, but only if the state House of Assembly is unable to convene and perform its duties.
The law in Section 11 of the Constitution, subsection 4, went ahead to say that the National Assembly can take over the function of a House of Assembly in the event where it is obvious that the Assembly cannot sit. The National Assembly can legislate on behalf of that particular state in question.
This is coming after President Bola Tinubu declared a state of emergency in Rivers State, suspended Governor Similai Fubara and his deputy Ngozi Odu for 6 months. He also suspended all elected members of the House of Assembly of Rivers State and nominated Vice Admiral Iboket Abbas as administrator to take charge of the affairs of the state. Analyst has revealed some of the reasons behind the political crisis between Governor Similai Fubara and the House of Assembly. Speaking on Atlantic Television Network program Atlantic Blowout, public affairs analyst Comrade Chuba Okbuzo questioned the alleged gross misconduct by the governor that prompted impeachment proceedings.
Transpired between the governor and the 27 House of Assembly members on the 23rd of November 2023. Till date, the Rivers people are yet to know the exact thing that transpired. If anybody does know that, I think it should be brought to the fore. Before they talked about the governor they want the assembly members intending to impeach the governor, we must ask ourselves this very all-important question: what really happened? To what end? What has the governor done? Because we know what the Constitution states about impeachment. What was the gross misconduct as at the time carried out by the governor that warranted a decision of the assembly or a majority supposedly at the time contemplating to impeach the governor? That is yet to be settled. On top of that, the governor that seems like it is the victim has not at any point in time come out to say, in the course of my findings, these were the reasons why the House of Assembly intended to impeach me earlier on, upon which I have made corrections, upon which I was not faulted or I was not faulty. So the truth remains that it cannot be overemphasized. This is the reality. This is a script for those of us that are from the public balance viewpoint. We consider all of this a script being played out right before us.
Okay,
however,
he said the governor demonstrated lack of boldness, also failed in showcasing the necessary leadership skills, capacity, and strength required to handle sensitive matters.
Then, when this saga commenced, I said nobody follows a Lilliput. And whether you like it or yes, the governor was not showing capacity, strength, and leadership as it ought to be. We are in a country where we have seen what is happening. We have not declared state of emergency, even in far northern Nigeria, where people, look, children were completely, 300 and how many? 65 or how many children were packed up from Chibok. Outside of that, we have seen Boko Haram almost run amok communities. But because legislative processes must be observed, these places were not even at that point in time declared state of emergency. Today, we talk that produces well over 30 to 40% of the country's revenue, injects into it. And the Supreme Court, in our wisdom, decides to withhold allocations to that state. And because one or two persons feel disgruntled and something has transpired now, and instead of good reason to come into play for people to sit on the round table and work out a lasting solution, the next thing is a state of emergency. Is it that all that is important about the Niger Delta is the resources that is here and that can be extracted? Is that all that it is to the Niger Delta? But where people, governors have even gone into
In Bios State, Governor Dui has warned that anyone who breaks the state's anti-graving law will face serious punishment. Duri, who disclosed this at Government House Yenagoa, said the primary duty of government is to protect the lives and property of the people. The governor, represented by his deputy senator Lawrence Ehuru Dijapo, said government had met with local government chairmen, traditional rulers and community leaders from 6 areas affected by herdsmen to sensitize them on the need to prevent violent clashes between herders and farmers, which have caused deaths and destruction in different parts of the country. Diri condemned recent reports of a woman from Amarata community in Yenagoa being raped by some herders on her farm and another woman being killed in Obuya, and urged traditional rulers and local government chairmen to take control of their areas and enforce the law to maintain peace. The governor also called on youth leaders, community development committees, and women leaders to be at alert and report any security threats to the authorities. Diri advised all local government chairmen to form enforcement committees for the anti-grazing law and submit the names of committee. The State House of Assembly has passed a resolution urging the state government to approve 21 days paternity leave for male public and civil servants whose wives put to bed to support them in catering for the wives and the new babies. The motion, which generated heated debate on the floor of the House, was later adopted with modification as announced by the Speaker Emmanuel Emerua. The sponsor of the motion, Mr. Matthias Ume, proceeded that granting the paternity leave to male civil servants in the state will assist them in providing the much-needed support their wives need during their period of childbirth and in taking care of newborn, as well as enhance parental bonding, among others. He recalled that the federal government had, through the head of service of the federal approved such through a circular with some other states across the federation keying into the policy. The motion was notably supported by the Deputy Speaker, Mr. Augustine Okezie, the Majority Leader, Mr. Uchenna Okoro, the Member for Okwa East, Mr. Lewis Obianyi, and that of Bender South, Emmanuel Ndubisi, who said it would give a sense of belonging and support to the males as well as better parenting. However, some legislators, including Chijoke Urapa, Mr. Boniface Isienyi, Mr. Solomon Apolono, Mandela Obasi, all opposed the motion based on the unproductivity and dichotomy it may create between those in the public and private sector. Kano State Governor Abba Yusuf has directed all 4 emirates to commence preparations for the Salah. Disclosed that the Kano State Emirate Council will be inaugurated in April this year to enable it to function effectively. A statement by the governor's spokesperson, Sanusi Tofa, said the governor gave the directive during a Ramadan breakfast meeting with the emirs held at the Ante-Chamber Government House, Kano. He assured the public that all security agencies in the state would be engaged to provide adequate protection for the people during the celebration, adding that the council's guidelines, ethics, and other crucial components will be communicated on the day of the inauguration. He commended the emirs of the maturity and positive relationship demonstrated since their appointment, adding that the development marks the first time in state history that there is such absolute respect among the emirs, particularly in terms of hierarchy. Still moving on, Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, has given the officials of the Federal Capital Development Authority 1 week to allocate land for resettlement of victims of demolition in Gishiri village. It would recall that 455 houses and structures were demolished in the village at Katampe District, Abuja, to make way for a road project. Wike gave the order when he visited the community on Wednesday to resolve the disagreement between the community members. A meeting with Wike on Monday also complained that the amount being given to some of the affected areas and persons as compensation was grossly inadequate. To address the issue, the minister promised to visit the area to see things for himself. On arriving at the community on Wednesday, Wike asked the FCDA Director of Land, Mr. Chijoke Nwankwoeze, about the land set aside for the relocation of the affected person. Wankweza explained that there were two areas: one, a 12-hectare land with 58 plots around Hope for Survival Orphanage. He added that the second resettlement site was 1.7 hectare with 5 plots located behind local education authority primary school in the community. Reacting, Wike directed him to commence the payment and urged the community leaders to collect the money or he would not give them the land. Minister Barrister Inyesem Wike has received the Chinese ambassador to Nigeria, He Den Hai, marking a significant step towards strengthening bilateral relations between Nigeria and China. Particularly with the FCT during the meeting, Barrister Wike highlighted the importance of the existing Memorandum of Understanding with Chinese companies, especially water projects, expect to be a significant achievement among other infrastructure development as Abuja approaches its 50th anniversary next year, hoping for more cooperation in key areas such as agriculture, vocational school with a focus to ICT to help empower the youth, whom he described as the key to the future.
Because we met in China last year when Mr. President visited with other African heads of state. I do know that, like you said, there were lots of bilateral talks and to improve the bilateral relationship between Nigeria and China. We as FCT2, we signed a memorandum of understanding between two Chinese companies, the CGC and CCECC.
Right.
CGC is to carry out the satellite water development, while CCECC and CGC we have to share the city to lit up Abuja, because we found out that most of the street lights we have are being vandalized or stolen, and we had to reach an agreement to put the type of street light that will have a strong room that if you want to vandalize or you want to steal, we'll notice it in the strong room. And so that is a procurement process now is going on. And then, like you said, the water thing too is very important. So Mr. President believes that this has to be done, particularly that Abuja will be 50 by next year. So the government is open to celebrate the Jubilee year for the government, for the territory.
Barrister Wike assured the ambassador of the improved security situation in the FCT that would create a conducive environment for Chinese businesses and residents, reaffirms commitment to providing the necessary support for Chinese activities and fostering a strong symbiotic relationship.
I would like us to also partner in terms of agriculture. It's very key. We have very good land for whatever kind of farm. So it will interest us much if we can partner on that. And then the vocational school, particularly as it relates to ICT. So like I said, the youth is key. If we must move forward, education is key and the youth is key. So these are two very areas I would like us to cooperate, partner together and see what we can do to be a symbiotic relationship. So once we thank you, and you can attest the security situation here now, and you can see that a lot of improvement. It is within us to provide enabling ground for you to carry out your businesses and relate with other people. So we're happy for a visit. We believe we continue to relate with each other, continue to partner so as to improve our relationship. China and Nigeria is already in good terms, but just to improve on it. So once more, you are welcome.
The Chinese ambassador in his remarks expressed pleasure at the visit and reiterated his commitment to deepening bilateral relations, while stressing for high-level political trust, development cooperation, mutual learning, and security assistance. He also said the ongoing efforts to enhance people-to-people exchanges, including the establishment of China Corners in FCT High School. Federal Capital Territory Executive Committee has approved critical contracts to enhance efficiency in meeting convened in Abuja. Addressing journalists shortly after the meeting, the coordinator, Abuja Metropolitan Management Council, Chief Felix Oboa, said the ESCO has approved the procurement of essential earth-moving machinery and equipment for the Development Control Department to enhance its operational efficiency.
We seek the approval for the procurement of some critical earth-moving machines and equipment for the Department of Development Control under Abuja Metropolitan Management Council, AMC, in favor of Matrak Nigeria Limited, that was approved by the Council to the total tune of 1,940,572,410 naira, inclusive of VAT, with a delivery period of 3 weeks, and the ESCO gave approval. By the special grace of God, with this purchase of this earth-moving equipment, it will ease the work of the Development Control under AMC. Meanwhile, the equipment we are purchasing with this amount include SIM card wheel loader, 1. We have card wheel loader 950 GC, 1. Excavator 320 GS, 1. Cart excavator 323, 1. And dozer D6, G6, 1. Total equipment of 5 carts, earth-moving equipment for the Development Control.
The acting executive
service today was in respect of the procurement of Microsoft 365 license at the tune of 242,827,450 naira. As you are all aware, the FCT is investing significantly in technology that will enhance revenue generation and collection. So this is also one of those investments in technology that the FCT is undertaking. The license we have procured today will enhance our ability to move most of our manual processes into automated processes. It will enhance our ability to communicate within our offices, reduce the use of paper, and also ensure that we're able to have better records, store our information, our documents in the cloud, and essentially to enhance our operations. And I believe that this memo, as approved today, will further aid us to generate revenue for the development of the FCT under the able leadership.
On the recent 10 years or more, declaring 21.
Regarding the recent revocation of titles, between 1 year and 10 years to do so. The revocation didn't affect everyone. It affected only people who have not paid us from 10 years and above. As we mentioned the other day, some people are owing ground rent for about 43 years. So many, 42, 41, and so on. 43 years is about half of the lifetime of that grant. Remember, these grants are made for, most of them are made for 99 years. So half of it is 44 and a half years. And somebody is owing ground rent for about half of them. Just one. Not two. The titles we are talking about that belong to PDP is only one, the one in Central area. Where they are occupying as their national headquarters is not their property. That's the clarification that people need to know. The property belongs to one Samaila Maman Kofi, who bought from Wadata and got his papers registered by way of assignment. So, and on that property, 28 years ground rent is being owed. 28 years, from 1998 to 2025. They are owing 2,848,173 naira 36 kobo for 28 years. And we put out notices out there for people to come and pay or risk those titles being revoked.
Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps Kaduna State Command has recovered 20 railway sleepers and a vehicle from vandals in Ugwan Sunday, Chukun local government area of Kaduna State. The Commandant NSCDC Kaduna State Command, MB Muhammadu Dansadu, while briefing newsmen at the NSCDC Kaduna State quarters, said the suspects took to their heel as soon as they saw the NSCDC personnel. He said the command has taken into custody the vehicle carrying the recovered 20 railway sleepers. The commandant, while assuring residents of the state's protection of lives, property, and critical national assets and infrastructure, pleads with the residents of the state to always report suspicious faces and criminals around our environment for immediate arrest and prosecution. Moving on, Nigeria Police Force has arrested 3 persons with 30 cartons of codeine syrups and other various hard drugs around Positukum, Yobe State, intended for supply to bandits, Boko Haram, insurgents, and kidnappers terrorizing the state and neighboring countries. The Public Relations Officer, Force Headquarters Abuja, ACP Lumuyiwa Adejobi, in a statement, said the suspects were arrested on February 1, 2025 by operatives of the Force Intelligence Department Special Tactical Squad based on credible intelligence. Adejobi explained that the suspects were apprehended while transporting 30 cartons of codeine syrups and other various hard drugs around Postisukum. He also disclosed that the feed STS intercepted and one Hawaii Sani, a 30-year-old female resident, along the KV Abuja Expressway in possession of 124 rounds of live ammunition of various calibers and concealed inside a 5-liter container of palm oil. Moving on to Jigawa State, Police Command says it has successfully trained its Success School Protection Squad on advanced police videographic surveillance technology for incident management. According to the command, this move is a step towards enhancing school security in the state. The command's public relations officer, SP Shiishu Adam, in a statement in Dusai, the state capital, said the training was conducted by Mr. Femi Amorim, an ICT expert from the National Center School Protection Squad, Nigerian Police Force Headquarters, Abuja. The training, which started on March 12, 2025, equipped officers with the expertise to effectively utilize police VGS technology for incident reporting, dispatching, and response. Adam said the Jigawa State Commissioner of Police, Ahmed T. Abdullahi, praised the National Center Special Intervention School Protection Squad Force Headquarters Abuja for this initiative. He emphasized the command's commitment to leveraging technology for improved school security. Accordingly, Abdullahi reiterated that the police will continue to prioritize the safety of students, teachers, and school environments. The statement therefore stated that the command is committed to ensuring that schools in Jigawa State remain safe and secure. You are watching the Transition on Atlantic Television Network. We'll return shortly after this break. This is Atlantic Television Network transition now to the rest of our stories. President Bola Tinubu had sworn in Vice Admiral Iboke Eket Ibas as the sole administrator of Rivers State. The administrator was sworn in during a short meeting with the president on Wednesday afternoon. Tinubu announced the appointment of the retired naval chief at a nationwide broadcast on Tuesday when he declared a state of emergency in Rivers State and suspended Governor Similai Fubara, Deputy Governor Ngozi Odu, and the Rivers State House of Assembly members. Tinubu hinged his decision on Section 305 of the 1999 Constitution, saying he can't continue to watch the political situation in Rivers State escalate without any action taken. The suspension of Fubara and other democratically elected representatives has been expressly rejected and condemned by many eminent Nigerians, legal luminaries group including Atiku Abubakar, Peter Obi, Femi Falana, the Labour Party, the People's Democratic Party, the Nigerian Bar Association, amongst others. However, the emergency rule has been praised by the pro-Nyesom Wike-led House of Assembly by Martins Amihule, accusing Fubara of contravening the Supreme Court's ruling on the political situation in the state. Senate has postponed till Thursday today a motion seeking approval for President Bola Tinubu's proclamation of a state emergency in Rivers State. The motion, which was late, the motion expressed concern over the rising tension that have disrupted governance and hindered democratic dividends.
We do suspend other items on the order paper for today who have been invited to appear before their various committees, and that other item be stepped down for another legislative day. Mr. President, I so move.
Minority Leader. Moved that we step down other items and adjourn to tomorrow. Clerk of the Senate. Date 20th day of March 2000. Thursday, 20th day of March 2025. Those in support of the motion for adjournment.
Speaking on the matter, Senator Jimo Ibrahim said the postponement was to allow for broader participation among lawmakers before a vote is taken.
That is the beauty of the Senate. The Senate is a democratic institution, and the Senate has given room for more members who is not aware of this yesterday but got to know about it today to be able to come tomorrow and air their views. Democracy is about numbers, it's about participation. So what we are saying is that we can adjourn it tomorrow in order to give room for more people to come. We formed quorum today, 68 people who are signed the register. If you now accept 17 leaders of the Senatorate, we are more than a quorum. We could as well go on. But we don't want to say, oh, it was 3 o'clock they brought it, when members are already praying, they are fasting, and then there were not many people on the floor. That's the time they passed the proclamation. No. First thing tomorrow morning, information I got to other members. Some members are fasting, they are praying in their homes. Tomorrow they will be here, and then by 10 o'clock, we pick it up. We are in tendium with Mr. President. I am in tendium with Mr. President, because this borders on life and security. We don't joke with life and security.
With the 6-month suspension of democratic institutions in Rivers State, it is expected that aggrieved parties will have time to resolve their differences and restore peace to the state. Moving on, federal government says President Bola Tinubu's declaration of a state of emergency in Rivers State was timely and meant to avert an implosion on the state. The Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice Lateef Obemi disclosed this while briefing State House correspondents at the Aso Rock Villa, Abuja. This is coming after President Bola Tinubu had on Tuesday declared a state of emergency in Rivers State, suspending Governor Similai Fubara, his deputy, Professor Ngozi Odu, and all elected members of the Rivers State House of Assembly for an initial period of 6 months. In a national broadcast, Tinubu cited prolonged political instability, constitutional breaches, and security threats as reasons for the extraordinary measure, adding that the crisis, which had paralyzed governance in the oil-rich state, stemmed from a power struggle between Governor Fubara and his predecessor, Nyesom Wike, now the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory. As part of the directive, the President also appointed Vice Admiral Iboke Eket Ibas As the sole administrator of the overseas to the state affairs until normalcy is restored, Iba served as chief of the naval staff from 2015 to 2021 under former President Muhammadu Buhari. Or Mary Jane. You can follow us on all our social media platforms, Twitter at Atlantic TV Network, Facebook and YouTube at Atlantic Television Network, and on Instagram, Atlantic TV Network. Peace and unity are the pathways to progress. Thank you for watching.
From the lines across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring all the sport news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today. Only on ATN.